Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Econobox garage. In this week's episode on our Bugeye build, the floor pans on the passenger side are pretty much all out. I make a rookie mistake while filming, and if you stay to the very end, you'll find out what the Bugeye's floor pans and firewalls have in common. Thanks again for dropping by. I hope you enjoy the video. I'll start off this week's video. Thought I would clarify one of the things that I was doing. I had someone ask me, says, why are you drilling holes in the bottom of your floor for that? So what I was actually doing is using a spot weld cutter to drill out the spot welds. And you can see on this one here, it's popped out already. So what I do with that, it's in the drill. So what we have, let's see if that'll focus on there, is a cutter. This part here is spring loaded. So you center punch the, there we go. We can center punch the spot weld, put this is obviously, this would be in the drill of course, and those blades basically cut around the spot weld to break it free from the piece underneath. So as you can see here, it just basically cuts a little circle, and you can see the center punch where that center pin rides in. So I did mark out where I'm going to cut, so that'll be just inside the line formed by the green tape there. At this end, I am going to straighten this piece out and then drill out all the spot welds along here, all the spot welds along this flange here, and then that's where the floor pan butts up to there. And then I'll just have to do some patchwork up in this corner here. Just get rid of all this filler and fiberglass on the sill here and make a little patch panel there for that. But my main focus right now is getting the floor on this side done. And so what's going to happen next before I start cutting away is I'm going to get to all the other spot welds. You can see I've got them circled here. There's there. At this end, there's a bunch of spot welds down in this area here that'll get drilled out. And then we go to the other end. There's I think 3 or 4 spot welds in here that'll get drilled out, and that piece will come off because the floor comes right over top of this. There was some, I haven't marked them yet, but there's some spot welds down here, so those will get drilled out so I can break that off. Once that's all done, then I can start cutting. You might be wondering, why did I drop the cut down to the end of these ribs here? Well, I got a heads up to make sure that everything lines up with all these ribs from between the existing and the replacement. As it turns out, these first 3, or the last 3, the ones towards the back of the car, they line up all right, but these 2 here don't line up. I just decided to drop the cut down past the end of these. So the rib on the new panel comes in about here on this one and about there on that one. So that way I've got 2 full ribs in there. Anyway, I'm going to get to work on drilling out the spot welds, and hopefully I don't miss any, and then we can get to cutting. Well, now that I have the spot welds cut out for the most part, I'm going to get going with the angle grinder now. And there's a couple of areas I'm going to have to be very careful with because I'm cutting with the angle grinder. Is this row of spot welds here are onto a flange on the other side of the floor pan. So basically I've only got the thickness of the floor pan itself to cut through there. So just need to be very careful with that. Not too worried through here, of course, because I'm not going to be cutting across these 2 rows. I'll have to get creative up here how I'm going to cut that. Again, as I said earlier, this is going to be my cut line here. At this end of the floor, I'm going to cut as close as I can to this lip here, so that once I move this, I can get a better angle to drill out the spot welds here and remove what's left of the floor pan on this side here. And the same up here. I'm not too sure exactly how I'm going to handle this. There's a little bit of the floor pan left there. And other than that, there's another row that's just off camera bit of spot welds towards the front that I'm going to have to be very careful at as well, because there's another flange through there. So next step is let's get cutting some floor pans out. This hole here is where you go put the jack in, but it's wide open to this space in this reinforcing rib on the inside of the floor. And as such, let's see if I can get that out of there. It wants to fill up with dirt. So I'll just have to make sure that all gets cleaned out fully as we move along here. Well, in an earlier video, I showed you that I would drill a couple of pilot holes. I just thought I'd show you where those are now that the spring plate is off and the floor is off. So there's the first one, and then there's the second one right there. So when I go to put things back together, for this one here, I'll just drill through from the other side, and that'll allow me to locate that spring plate that came off there. A common problem on the Bugeyes is these two little ribs. There's one here and another one here, which you can see has a hole in it. These hold the battery off the firewall, and they're subject to corrosion or acid from that. Now, one thing I just noticed is that if you look at the ribs on the floor that I just pulled out, these ribs are pretty much the same size as the ones on the firewall. So I'm going to cut these up and use them to patch the firewall. Rather than trying to fabricate a little piece and bend it in here, I've already got something that's bent to pretty much the right shape. That should be very straightforward to insert in there. Well, that wraps up another episode of our Bugeye Build. Thanks for joining me in the garage this week. Hey, but before you go, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the little bell icon so you get notified of any future videos. Thanks again for joining me. We'll see you in the next one.